Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms. And of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Hey, Drew, really appreciate your time, man, on a Monday. Thanks for doing this.
Look, man, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
So it's busy. It's a busy time of year. The election obviously is tomorrow, which by the time this gets published, we'll hopefully know who the winner is. But you guys have a new Sister Hazel has a new record coming out, so I'm sure you're doing a million things right now around that. So I really appreciate your time.
Well, yeah, man,
it's an honor to talk to you.
We actually manage to stay busy all the time, so it just feels kind of normal, really, to be honest with you.
Well, good. Well, I know you've done talk shows, radio shows, TV appearances, but being on the Curious Goldfish podcast has to be up there with the appearances.
This is a bucket list item right here for sure.
All right. Well, where I'm going with that, obviously, I was going to try to make a joke, but nothing could probably compare to being on The Price is Right, though. Come on.
Oh. That was a unique experience. I've gotten a lot of fun out of that over the years, but that was really cool, man. That was a million years ago, but that was a really, especially with Bob, and he still had the long microphone and everything.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that was, I think it's on YouTube, so people can check it out. But Sister Hazel by then was a thing, and I think I think All For You was out by then. And did he have any clue who you were?
No, and so the truth is, we were in the studio that day. So we were out in LA, and we were in Rumbo's studio, and I was supposed to be at the studio, but I went down and was on The Price is Right. And so when he was like, well, "What do you do for a living?" And I was gonna say who I was and all that, but at the same time, I was like, man, the guys are gonna be mad that I'm here and not at the studio. And so when the whole thing got done, and not to throw a spoiler, but I made it to the Showcase Showdown, the whole thing. When I called the guys and I was like, "Guys, you're never gonna believe this. I was on The Price is Right." And they were like, "Dude, just get down here." Like, they didn't believe me at all. So yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, that's one. That's quite a memory.
You won a car for your dad, right? Like that was the
So my dad had gotten into a car accident and totaled his car. And so I told Bob Barker, I said, "Look, man, if I win this car, I'm going to give it to my dad." And I called him after the show and said, "Hey, Pops, I got you covered with the car." And he had already bought one. So I sold the car back to the dealership. I had to pay the taxes on it, but I sold the car back to the dealership and then just gave my dad the money to pay for the car that he got. So it was, it was cool. I got to give my Pops a gift.
That's awesome. All right. Well, again, it's Bob Barker and then me, Jason, the host of the podcast, right in the same, right in the same area. All right, cool. Well, again, lots going on. One of the cool things that I wanted to ask you about is on your all social media, you're doing a very cool thing, which is celebrating the 30 years, right? I think it's Hazel at 30 or whatever, and you're getting feedback and posting comments from just everybody that has spent time with you all or know you and stuff. So I really appreciate that, because it's a good just reminder and walk down memory lane for fans. The coolest one, I think, is the whole notion of you texting, like, Hooting the Blowfish, trash talking about SEC football.
Yeah. We still talk bad about each other. Like, whoever they're playing, I'm like, if they're playing Kentucky, I'm like, man, Wildcats, hope you guys don't lose that one. It's like, whatever it is, we just trash talk all the time. Of course, this year it's hard to trash talk as a Gator. They're still my boys, and I love my Gators, but having a little bit of a rough season. So,
that's cool.
but no, that's a lot of fun. And then, man, South Carolina, they beat Texas A&M the other night, so they're a tough team.
I think the NIL has sort of leveled the playing field, I think, more than people expected. Yeah.
Yeah, and the portal, because you can reload, like, instantly. You can reload. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, Saban probably saw the writing on the wall. That's why he got out, because he's like, I can't dominate like I have forever. So,
his years of dominance was over. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so the 30 years is cool. So what does that mean for you to have that feedback and people just acknowledge the run that you've had, that's got to feel really good, right?
Yeah, it's an honor, man, honestly, like, the and it's cool to see the quotes that we've gotten from our friends. um, I think that after you've been in it for so long and you know these guys as well as you do, uh, you don't really think about maybe the impact that you've had on different people or how they view it from the outside because we're so inside of it the whole time. It's very gratifying and humbling. First of all, just to be in the music business for 30 years and being able to provide for my family, um, I feel beyond blessed, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then I don't know how old you are. I'm 50. I think you're probably in the general vicinity, but do you have
Yeah, a little
it's been a
north of
long
that, but
run.
yeah.
Well, you look great. But being in the music industry that long, I mean, it's got to feel like dog years. But do you, at this stage in your career, do you feel like you guys are getting kind of like I don't know if it's a second wind, but kind of a new wind? You guys still going?
It's funny you say that because our creative mojo right now is really pretty good, man. Like
Mhm,
we're in a pretty good groove in the studio, and we're probably not writing as much as what I wish we were writing, but we have such a stinking we have a vault of songs that as every time we scratch through it, we find another little nugget
mhm,
that we haven't heard in a while, and we're like, man, that song's really good. We need to record that one. So yeah, I feel like that we're still as long as people are connecting with it and showing up to shows, I'll be happy doing this. You can wheel me out there, and we'll make it happen however we can.
Have you seen? By the way, have you seen the Frankie Valley clips?
Oh,
The Jersey Boys. Have you seen this? Like,
it
if
just
you
makes me
if you go that far, that might be too far.
it makes me a little sad, man. Honestly, that one makes me a little sad and scared because I'm like, man, it's hard to say what it is. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
oh
That'll be something in 35 years if you're still
yeah,
if you're still pulling that off. No,
yeah.
that's great to hear, and obviously a good symbol of that creativity and all that is the new album, which we'll definitely talk about. And I apologize if you've been asked this a million times before. I couldn't find an interview where you talked about it, but obviously, All for You is the giant mega hit way back when. 150 million streams on Spotify, all the things. But I guess what was the moment where you looked at each other and was like, okay, this feels different. Was there? Do you have a recollection of the fact that was going to be send you all in the trajectory that it sent you?
Honestly, man, I think we still all suffer from imposter syndrome. I think we all still kind of look around and go, unreal, man. How did this happen? And
Um,
especially getting on stage with that song. That song is it's just special. And I know a lot of bands have a collection of special songs, but the way that a crowd reacts to this song still after all these years is just insane, man. I'm so thankful. Ken wrote that song back in 1991, and
mm,
it was 6 years later that it finally got on the radio. But it has opened so many doors for us, and people are always like, "Man, are you tired of playing that song?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'll play it
mm,
5 times a night if that's what
right,
people want to
right.
hear because it's just such an honor." So um, I don't think there was really a moment where we went, "Hey, man, look at this. This is we've made it." Um, I think we all kind of keep looking because nobody owes us. That's one thing we've never taken it for granted. Nobody owes us anything,
Sure.
so I think we keep looking over our shoulder like, "Are they going to figure us out yet, or we still got to run at this?" It's just. I think we're all just really happy to still be doing it.
I think you guys are good. You're not imposters anymore.
Yeah,
You may have been back in '91, but not anymore. So I was in college, in the mid '90s, and I think of like Counting Crows, Mr. Jones, the
yeah,
Sting, Tin Summoner's Tales CD from Sting, and then your song.
oh
I mean, that's when I
man,
hear that it brings back my college years. It's crazy.
10 Sumner's Tales, man, I wore that record out, and I still listen to that record and go, "How does somebody write that? Like, how
Yeah,
does he write?" Like, yeah, he blows me away, man. Sting and James Taylor. I wore out the James Taylor live, that double live disc
the
he
double
had,
live. Yeah,
the black one, the double man,
yeah.
I wore the so Ken and I were roommates a million years ago, and
Okay.
I just remember Ken being like, "Dude, you gotta play something other than James Taylor." I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm still digging it." So,
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good one. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
that brings it back.
Well, so you've got, so again, decades later, you're still cranking out the music. The new album is called Sand, Sea, and Crash Debris. I guess what's the title from?
Well, it's a combination of a few different lyrics uh, in the record, and, it just kinda came together. We do a Post-it note thing for record titles, and
Okay.
we put everything up there. If it's jokes, if it's serious, if it's lyrics, if it's whatever, we put it all up on a thing, and then we kind of put our initials on it. We keep narrowing it down. And that one, when that one hit the board, we all were kind of like, man, some of that's really reflective of kind of where we are and this collection of songs, um, and in a good way and a bad way because it's like, uh, you know sand and sea reminds me of the beach. It's very
Sure.
like it's a warm, welcoming feeling for me. And then crash debris is just kind of, man, it's the carnage of life. It's like you look around, it's like, man, a lot of stuff has happened. So uh, I think the title is really awesome, and Jet Barris, our bass player, he does a lot of stuff with the artistic side of that, and he found the artwork that goes along with the album title, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's awesome. So
No, that's good.
that's where the title came from.
And I think the songs are written or co-written by pretty much everybody. It feels like, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, all of the map, yeah,
Yeah.
and outside writers, all kind of stuff. So it's been
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, I want to ask you. There's two or three that have your name on it. The first one I want to ask about is "Live Again," and you're married, have a family, and everything. And I was married for a long time. I don't know if you can relate to this, but I think the message of "Live Again" is things may not always be perfect, but if we make an effort, we can keep this thing going, right? And I guess is that as
Exactly.
someone that that's been in that relationship and stuff. Have you had I'm sure everybody has some doubts, but have you can you relate to that sentiment? Is that where that kind of came from in terms of the songwriting?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Um, uh, I've been married for 21 years, going on 21 years,
awesome.
and, in that time I got married late, but in that time, I went from being single for a long period of time, which was all about me, and that was okay because it was just me. So, my life was about me. And when you get married, it's not just you anymore. You know what I mean? There's a lot of give and take, and my wife and I take our commitment to each other very seriously. We have ups and downs just like everybody else, but our commitment is to cling to each other and to fight through the stuff that would make us question the relationship, and just remember kind of what got us here in the first place.
Hmm.
So it is not always easy for sure, but absolutely worth it. My family is the of everything in my life. My family is probably the thing I'm the most proud of and that I value probably the most.
Yeah. Well, not that you're Dr. Phil or anything, but what advice do you have for fellas like me or others that are trying to keep things not from crashing?
You can't here. This is what I would say, and look, you're right. I'm not Dr. Phil, and me giving advice is almost comical. But if you allow yourself to have the option of giving up, you're losing already.
Hmm,
Like, that can't be an option. That you got to take that off the table.
hmm,
That has to be when you make the commitment for better for worse till death do you part. You have to really commit to that. Now, I'm not saying in an abusive relationship or where there's infidelity or things like that there are times when it's appropriate to have the relationship dissolve. Um but if it's the small stuff,
right.
not making your bed or whatever it is that you might be arguing over, you got to be willing to battle through those things, or the hard stuff, money or anything else. It's worth it, man. That's my I have plenty of friends that have ended relationships, and I'd wonder to myself later in life, are they gonna look back and going, "You know what, man? I could have fought a little harder to save that." And
Hmm,
so, Live Again is really that. It's like, "Hey, man, we're right there," you know? It's just whether or not we're both willing to put in the effort to make it work. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what that song's about. But I wrote that song with Neil Carpenter, and I always felt like that chorus was really good. That's a song that has been around for a little while. When it circled back around, the guys were like, "Man, the chorus of this song is really strong," and the band just did a great job in the studio, bringing the song to life.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at the lyrics right here. What I love is it says, "You say you're holding on tight because in your mind it's the right thing to do." And I go through all the emotions as we drift apart. Baby, I'm guilty too, right? So like
Yeah,
the whole going through the motions. I mean, yeah, that's real, right?
that's real. That's
Yeah,
it. As
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing what you think is right. But sometimes you that works to your advantage. Sometimes if you can keep doing those things and keep, even if it does feel like you're going through the motions, it'll circle back around to what's real.
yeah. No, that's good. And then the other one, what's it called? Hole in your life.
Whole in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What's the context of that? That's a really good one.
So Emerson Hart from Tonic, I
Okay.
wrote that song. I wrote that song with Emerson,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and kind of a funny story about this is we were at his house up in Nashville, um, when we wrote this, and we were just kind of fooling around with some different ideas, and really had a melody and a few lyrics. And I remember at one point as we were writing lyrics, we would kind of, I'd go off somewhere and work on some stuff, and he'd work on some stuff, and we'd come back together and we'd kind of share our ideas with each other. And I remember one time, man, he came with a lyric that I'm not going to point it out in the song, but he came with a lyric, and I was like, "Man, what does that mean?" And he goes, "I don't know, but it sounds cool." And I go, "You're right, man. That sounds really cool." And so we stayed with it. So, some of it, some of it, you get done with the song and you go, "Now I know what that means." You know what I mean? The way it fits into the song. So, but hole in your life is just that emptiness you feel, sometimes when just a piece is missing.
Hmm.
But you again, and I hate to be the guy that's always trying to be optimistic, but you just got to keep going.
Has there been a hole in your life that you've struggled with or had to fill at some point?
Sure, at some point in my life, yeah, I've had plenty. Right now, man, I am a very blessed man. I'll just tell you, I got my kids are healthy, and they're good people, and they're all older. I got my youngest is 18.
Okay.
Um, my wife and I are cruising along. We're going through the different seasons of our life, and the band is doing well. And right now I feel pretty whole right now. Not whole, but like complete. Yeah, I feel pretty complete. Yeah.
So in terms of where you all are as artists, where do you think you are, and then where do you all want to be still after 30 years?
Man, I've almost quit guessing because, I mean, if you'd asked me 20 years ago, if you'd said, "Hey, man, do you think you'll be doing this in 5 years?" That would have been 15 years that we were doing it, and I'd be like, "I doubt it. 15 years in the music business, probably not gonna be able to make that." Um, so I've kinda given up guessing. I'm still really thankful every time we walk on stage and there's
Right.
an audience
Hmm.
and they're singing songs back to us, even like deep cuts. If we decide to play something that we haven't played in a long time and people are singing along with us, I'm so thankful for those moments. I think, like I said, as long as we're still having fun, some of the best times we have is when we're playing live on stage. I think as long as we're still having fun and that it's not having a negative effect on our families or the people around us, and we're still connecting with fans, then we'll do it until it doesn't. Like I don't want to overstay my welcome, but right
Right.
now we're having fun.
Yeah, yeah, you got to keep rolling. I mean, how thankful are you all? I don't know who came up with it, but in this whole environment of all the streams and the platforms, and there's so much media that can sort of distract us as consumers, right? There's podcasts like this podcast, there's music, there's television, there's the streaming platforms. How grateful are you all that someone had the brilliant idea? Okay, we're going to create this whole fan engagement sort of, the hazelnuts and the boat, the rock the boat
Right.
thing, all the things that you guys are doing. Because I think if you hadn't done that, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it would
Yeah,
be really hard to kind of keep this mojo going, right? Because you guys had
I
the
agree.
excitement, right?
That was kind of ingrained in us. from the beginning was this appreciation for our fan base. I think we understood early on that people were making a choice to spend their money and their time on what we were doing, and we were always grateful for that. I remember, and I just told this story recently that we played. There was a place up in Tallahassee called Floyd's Music Store, and we used to play there. And we stayed in this hotel right across the street, and you could see people line up, out front. We'd go out in the balcony of this hotel, and you could see people lining up. And we were playing there one Friday night, and I mean the line was really long to get in to see us play, and we were still at the hotel, kind of hanging out. And we ordered a bunch of pizzas and walked down there and took pizzas to this line of people that were waiting in line to see our show. And they were like, "Man, no way! The band's bringing us pizza." But the truth is, we were just thankful. Like it's an honest, thankful reaction of, "Man, thank you for connecting with our music
Right.
and allowing us to do what we do." And so, I don't think that ever wore off. And these events that we came up with to connect with our fans, like you said, it's part of what's enabled us to keep going for all this time.
I mean, imagine if Sister Hazel was starting today in the environment today, and I know people attempt the Patreon thing, and there's ways to do it digitally, but nothing can be what you just described, right? And I mean, how
Yeah.
hard would it be to kind of get that going today? I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
it's such a different world now, man. I can't even imagine it. And I don't know whether you have to be even more lucky now, or I don't know what it is now that has to
Yeah,
happen because there's so many different avenues to be discovered. Um, Thankfully, Ken is very active in social media. He's our guy. Like
he's the guy.
he's
Yeah,
good at it. Like he has figured out kind of how to make it a part of what he does, and I'm just thankful we have somebody that does that because I'm horrible at it. I try to contribute, but I'm just not as good at thinking, "Oh man, grab your phone, do something right here." I don't think of that very often. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm thankful that Ken does.
One question I do have too is, you all have been on a little bit of a journey with genres, right? Kind of the rock of the '90s and a little bit of Americana. You've performed on the Opry. You hit the country music, charts a few years ago. I guess did that all just kind of just happen, through the years? And like, I guess
Yeah,
today, do you even attempt to categorize yourselves, or is it kind of just like it is what it is?
because honestly, even if you went back and listened to our like, there was a White album that we put out first, and then we put out Somewhere More Familiar. If you went back and listened to the songs on those records today, a lot of that would have been considered country.
Hmm.
Um, because country did that. It wasn't that we went, "Hey, let's be country now." Now, don't get me wrong. There are some songs that have some instrumentation that definitely leans more country.
Sure.
Um, but that was really an effort to stay true to the songs. It wasn't necessarily, "Hey, let's try to be country." It was, "Hey, man, this song sounds like it needs this. Let's put it in there." And that's something we've always kind of tried to do is just stay true to the songs.
For this new album, anything different or new planned to promote it the rest of this year in 2025? Or are you guys just going to be traveling like crazy and touring and doing the usual
Yeah.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, doing the usual stuff, traveling, and it's so funny how the industry kind of flip flopped. I mean, you used to tour so you can sell records, and now you kind of make records so you can tour. So we're going to keep doing that, and I know that we try to stay out in front of some creative ways to connect with our fan base and to try to earn some new fans. So I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll keep doing that as well.
All right. So after 30 years, lots of experiences, I guess. What are you most curious about?
What am I most curious about?
Yeah.
In what fashion? Like,
It
what do
could
you
be
mean?
life, it could be music, it could be family. What like are you? Because you've seen it all probably in the music industry, but there's
Yeah.
probably still something that you're trying to figure out. It's something I ask everybody, and everybody has like really interesting answers. Because I think curiosity. So I have a day job, right? Even in the corporate world, this notion of curiosity doesn't exist enough, I don't think. And then in relationships, I think curiosity is underrated. So I just it's something I'm trying to promote with kind of just my little thing that I'm doing here. So it could be any context.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of things that I haven't figured out yet. Um, but curious. I don't know, man. I'm so engrossed in. I don't know. I guess, and maybe this fits in the category. I'm curious. My folks have been gone now for a while. I'm curious if I could talk to my folks right now. I'm curious how they would see how I've progressed and what I've done with my family and how I'm leading my life. I'm curious how they would perceive that. I'd like to think they would be happy with everything, but I love them so much and have so much respect for them. I'd love to hear, give me some constructive criticism. Like help me because
Right.
they I felt like that they and I know they had their struggles, but I felt like they did such a good job of giving me such a happy life. I'd love to have their input on where I am right now. So I guess that's what
That's a
I'd be
great
curious
answer.
about.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer. Yeah, my dad's 88 and my mom is 82, so
Yeah.
they're and it's like, I'm fortunate to be able to still, communicate and
Yeah, man.
get that feedback, right? So that I totally respect that answer.
And I'll tell you too, the bummer is it doesn't matter if they're I don't care if they're 110. When you lose them, that's an impact. Like
Yeah.
it just if we're lucky enough to have relationships with our moms and dads, when they go, it has quite an impact. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Drew, I really appreciate your time. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Congrats on the another new album.
Thank
And
you so much.
yeah, hopefully I'll see you on the road sometime. But yeah, appreciate you.
Absolutely so much. Thank you and good luck with the podcast. I think everything's going well for you. So I'll just wish you continued success.
All right. Thanks, Drew. I appreciate it, man.
All right.
All right, so this is a song off of the brand new record right here. This is a song called Coconut Trees. Goodbye, sunshine. Hello, rain. It's just what we needed. Another cloudy day. Well, hey, baby, I know it's kind of crazy, but I think we should run away. 'Cause I've been saving up money in a cookie jar. Say goodbye, honey, RFY to the gray sky blues. I've got 2 one-way tickets to paradise. We'll mix a little sun and rum on ice with an ocean breeze. It's just you and me, baby, in the coconut trees. Pack some sunscreen, your toothbrush, and that little bitty black bikini, baby, that I love so much. And even though I don't wanna, we should probably call your mama. Let's wait till we get there. 'Cause I've been saving up money in a cookie jar. Say goodbye, honey, RFY to the gray sky blues. I've got 2 one-way tickets to paradise. We'll mix a little sun and some rum on ice with an ocean breeze. It's just you and me, baby, in the coconut tree. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I've been saving up money in a cookie jar. Say goodbye, honey, I RFY to those gray sky blues. I've got 2 one-way tickets to paradise. Well, hey, baby, ain't this the life? Yeah, say la vie.